Hans Zimmer, who like did musical scores to develop these sounds in his car.
It's so weird. It's like I was standing there and I was like, what is that noise? And I come back around and as he's pulling out, I said, is that you?
So it's like they do this backup noise.
Yeah.
But it's not an annoying beep, beep like you get from a truck.
No, it's like from a
organ.
yeah, an organ or a
Yeah,
it was just really weird. Yeah. Strumming a harp. I don't know. It was just I felt like I don't know. But you can turn it off if you wanted to, or is it always
probably.
I paid for that.
By law to protect blind people, they make electric cars generate a noise below 20 miles an hour.
okay? Well, that's
So I don't know if I
because
can
they're
turn
so quiet.
Right. I don't know if I can turn that part of it off.
Oh, that's interesting.
Blind people. 20 miles an hour.
Hmm,
What that point? Kill them anyway.
yeah. Is Matt and Alex?
They're coming.
Alex is there,
Yeah, I
is
was
that
just talking about it.
coming?
He's- I may
Okay.
have.
Were you holding him
I
up?
may have contributed to
Nice
the layer.
job.
All of a sudden, Alex called for the code. We were like, oh, we should probably go to the meeting.
Yeah, well, that's a good thought.
Finally RSVP, please.
Oh, good. Yeah,
Right.
I have to send out reminders, man.
You going?
I have class.
So you're skipping class.
He's like this close.
I have
I
a
can't-
final. Unless you,
Do it
On a
beforehand.
oh,
Can
it's
you
a
ask to
Saturday
take it on
night.
Friday?
You going into the Saturday night or you? I heard Casey's dad was coming to town.
well, he is that too. And I think that's part of the contributing factor. But I get out later that night. And
Okay.
You could bring it.
only 2 per household.
No,
We
we're
missed
changing
that.
that.
You're
That's
going.
getting changed on Friday or Saturday. I mean. So if you have friends, you bring friends. People can't make, huh?
Yeah, there is.
Yes, he's coming.
Yeah.
No, we're not gonna start with that.
Took the heat for your.
I was gonna let
told me.
town look for now that our
Which it
meeting
was.
is starting. Monitoring.
There you go.
Tell me that.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can let people in. You can let the 3 people in.
Yeah, come.
7.
You'll ask and we can just reach it.
I know, I
That's
should
what I'm
just do
saying.
something up.
Yeah.
Okay, great. All right, so I know we're live and so everybody ready? Council, staff, you guys ready? Okay, we're gonna call this meeting to order. If we please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. My chair at home does not roll around quite so freely as the one here. Got them used to it. All right, council, next item on the agenda is the moment of silence. Does anyone have any one they would like to bring up? Anyone online? No, don't see any hands. All right, if we could just bow our heads for a moment. Okay, thank you very much. Just for those in the room, I don't think people on TV can hear, the British players did not realize that our meetings were now on Wednesdays, so they are doing auditions tonight, but they've moved down to the other end. So if you hear a little piano in the background, that's what's going on, but they're not above us, they're closer to the entrance to the drill hall. So,
Thought we had a packed meeting tonight.
from the cars?
Cars.
Yeah, that's British players. So, everybody received the minutes, for the, closed meeting and the public session. On the 13th, I did not see any emails regarding any changes to the minutes. So someone wants to make a motion to approve the minutes for the town council meeting, the closed session.
I'll,
Start with that.
I'll move to approve the town council meeting minutes for the closed session for February 13th,
Okay.
2024.
Is there a second?
My second.
All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, need a motion for the public session on the 13th?
I'll continue it.
Mhm.
I'll move to approve the town council meeting minutes for February 13th, 2024 public session.
Okay, is there a second?
Aye.
Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
All right. That'll make it easier for Susan on the just ditto.
Yeah.
on that one. Okay, all right, we're just on, move down to the mayor and town council under acknowledgement. We did send a letter to the Transportation Environmental Committee of Montgomery County requesting that the proposed Summit Avenue extension project be included in the, and adequately funded within the county FY 25 CIP. We have the next, does anybody have any questions about that? You want to further discuss that, or you want to mention that later in your report that we've been?
We might as well talk about, well, you, on top of sending the letter, myself, Councilmember Engel, and the mayor have been reaching out to members of the county council to make sure that they are aware, since we put in the time and effort, to undertake a technical assistance panel or a TAP study with ULI, and we had that report and the results. We were updating that information with each of their offices, so we reached out, spoke to at least 6 or 7. We've got one more to go with Councilmember Jawando from last night. Helping them to see the vision that both the town as well as ULI see for Summit Avenue, to bring in housing density, to bring in new retail options, but also to create a residential roadway that creates a kind of green bridge between the town of Kensington and Kengar with linear parks and increased tree canopy and such. And so it was very well received by members of the county council, and in the committee meeting for transportation and environment, all 3 members gave very, very supportive comments. 2 of the 3 acknowledging that it is one of their, if not their number one of their top 3 priorities for the CIP. So
Good. Nate, anything to add?
No.
Okay, anybody have any questions regarding that? Yeah, don't see any hands, so we'll move on. Number 2 on the agenda is the Love Records. This is a request for a partial street closure. It's between the, I guess, the driveway entrance and Howard Avenue that goes behind Girls Who Paint. So you're not blocking that, right? I need you to come forward, sorry. Just give your name and,
Hi, Rita Francis. Can you hear me? Okay, sorry.
yeah,
Rita Francis, Love People Records owner. This would be the driveway actually at Carly's Deli. That way there's an exit
oh, okay,
ability.
so not very much.
Not very much. I mean, maybe we'll consider it next time, but we don't want to affect any other businesses as much as possible. So, you know, that's where it would start, and then to Howard Avenue.
Okay. And what's the plan for the event?
Our plan is to have a rotation of DJs. The event is to celebrate Record Store Day, which is globally recognizing independent record stores all over the world, us being one of them. And, you know, it would just be better to enjoy the weather and have a little bit more space for people to be entertained.
Yeah, because your store is a little small, so it'd be tough to do it.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah. Okay, we'll say cozy. That's a better.
Yes.
Good. Okay, Counselor, do you have any questions?
I think it's great.
Yeah, I'm
Okay.
super supportive. I just was curious if you've spoken with the surrounding businesses about the potential impact that it might have on them, because it is a Saturday. They're often rely on, you know, the traffic going through there and being able to park.
Sure. We have considered the 3 spots that are typically open for traffic. We've spoken with the owners of Carly's Deli. They are supportive and kind of just anxious to hear, you know, what the outcome is of this, really. Anyone else, you know, we've just kind of put something out and said, in the past, we've made it more of a idea, and they've actually been more supportive, sometimes even just throwing the idea our way first. So we kind of just picked off of that, and we just have recent support from that.
Okay. I guess if we approve it, you would check with the other businesses too, just to make sure.
Yeah, so for residential street closure, we typically handle it internally.
Yeah.
Anytime we deal with a commercial street, we bring it to the council because it may affect
Yeah.
businesses. We'll provide read and queue with the barricades and provide a notice to the public. And staff is in support of the event.
Great. Sounds good.
Yeah, I mean, we're not losing a lot of parking here,
Um,
so. I think it's actually good for particularly this, the food businesses, because they'll certainly make, they'll cap the people that are there. They'll have them captured to,
Yeah, we also, in reaching out to Carly's Deli, we told them the, date that we hope to do the event, well,
Mhm.
that we're asking for the event,
right,
and that they could possibly plan ahead to include themselves in, either offering something in particular. I know that they also kind of have wine and some sort of spirits, and the ability to do so. So that would be, I think, beneficial to both of us. And then, yeah, obviously people are hungry. If we do it most of the day, they can just stay all day and then eat hopefully at the same time. So.
okay, cool. All right, council, any other questions?
Rita, just from your write-up, in between the street closures, I see rotational DJs. What else? Like, just give me a quick, what do you envision? Tables for food?
Right. Well, I think if we can also collaborate with you guys to borrow a few tables, some of the collapsible tables like we have in the past, perhaps some chairs as well, would be kind of a somewhat of a loungy space, for music. There's, we always anticipate some sort of dancing or, ability to do that, but it would be a gathering space. It'd be for people to just kind of hang out, and if they spill onto the other stores, that's great too. I mean, we obviously want to support all of our business neighbors, especially. And then also we are considerate of doing things indoors as well for the music. In the past, we want to be a little bit louder. And so being outside helps us to kind of, in a way, contain the noise, where it's just going to a specific crowd. But yeah, with rotation of DJs, in the past, we've had couple of DJs go on for about half an hour to an hour. They'd be playing obviously family friendly, public friendly music of all kinds. And just an overall kind of good vibe environment. Again, because we are celebrating the independent record store and we're hoping that people come in and buy music. So we're just hoping to kind of keep that environment, joyous in a sense. So, anything with music, we usually assume everybody's having a good time. So that's the only thing we want to do.
Perfect.
Any questions?
No, I am a resident of Fawcett Street, so I will be directly impacted, but I think it's a great idea. To support an independent business on a day that I think has been becoming more popular. And to show that Kensington also has an independent record store is nice. And I just echo the other comments about, working with the businesses and integrating them into the day. And it sounds like you're already thinking that way.
I would definitely suggest that you, on whatever promotions you give, that people could park at Town Hall. I think we can check the calendar, but I don't think during the day on a Saturday is probably much going on.
Great.
And then they could also park in the parking lot at the St. Paul's Church.
Oh, perfect. Okay.
So, I would definitely point out options for people for parking.
Or they could walk and ride their bike
They could walk and ride their bike, but there is that group that doesn't do that.
or roll.
Yeah. Yeah, but I mean, it's always helpful, particularly for cars, that they know they have options, that they can park in those two locations.
And then presumably there'll be a notice to residents that goes out just like you do in their other street closures.
Right now. If you got something, you got to go up there to whisper in Rita's ear and,
More of a question.
okay.
In that part of the process, are we contacted and then we're in charge of notifying the residents? How does that part work?
So we would typically send out a general notification and then any reach out you do is just beneficial.
Okay.
So,
Yeah.
Especially if you want to incorporate Carly's or anyone else.
Yeah, let me see if there's anybody online that has a question. Okay, I'm not seeing any hands, so council, I don't know if we need to take a vote, we can just stay with support.
Good.
Okay, everybody good?
Yep.
All right, great.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks, Kevin.
All right. All right, so we'll go through council reports. Let's just start.
I can start.
So we'll start on Jerry.
Aside from Summit Avenue, joined the mayor and Councilmember Bartram at MML last night to meet and confer with members of the county council, which I think was, it's always good to keep up friendly relations. The other two big from the north side are, thank you to town staff, the stop signs, the speed motivated stop signs, have been put in a couple locations, one namely at St. Paul and Pliers Mill, where we've had some issues, and I was out walking the dog last night and they work very, very well. So they catch cars in plenty of time to give them notice, and people take notice and have come to complete stops. So those are working effectively. And then most excitedly is that the rapid flashing beacon bases, at least one of them seems to be installed. And so Nate, yes, there is progress after, I don't
many
know,
years?
7 years. So,
You're hearing history, everybody. This is
I won't
being.
put a period on that sentence until I see them operating, but they are.
Till they're flashing.
And so for those, we've been working with State Highway Administration for 7 years to get pedestrian activated rapid flashing beacons at Wheatley Street, where there's some really poor line of sight issues for pedestrians crossing Metropolitan, which is a state road. Those pedestrians predominantly are headed to Mark and other places for public transportation or to the farmers market. And especially at this time of year, when the time is changing around daylight savings, as early as like 4:35, it gets really hard to see people when they're coming off the Mark train. There's been several near misses. And so it's been a slow process, but a huge thank you to Matt. And then Nate took it over, and now it looks like it may be happening. So that's all I've got.
Good. Nick?
Darren's done a fair share of lobbying too for SHA, so.
Fish shaking.
I'll let you do the MTC, is that okay?
Yeah.
All right, so just two updates. One is for pedestrian bicycling access and safety working group. Just to flag that we met on February 28th, and all of the notes from that meeting are on the town website. The next meeting for that group will be in April. And then for the Sustainable Kensington, we met on March 6th and discussed the various activity areas. I think one thing that we want to flag, progress is being made along all of them, but one thing that Ann and I received finally, it started in the summer, this solar feasibility study and resilience hub feasibility study for the town hall to be basically a resilience hub. If there were emergency, some sort of natural disaster, this room was studied for being a place where people could come in, charge batteries. We would be able to have a backups battery on the outside of the town hall, but that would be fed by solar. So they were studying all of this with the potential of having solar panels put on the roof. Long story short, the resilience hub, we wouldn't generate enough electricity from our solar to be able to make that work. From a financial perspective, and from also just the amount of solar electricity generated. And whether it would work on town hall, on the top here on our roof, will depend on whether we can get them put on the main part, the kind of arced part of the roof, and not just the flat part that's over the offices.
I didn't realize it, but there is a flat part over the stage. Doesn't seem to be much up there.
Yeah, they did.
Did they look at that too?
They looked at everywhere, and
Okay.
So it's going to take more conversations, and at some point we'll come back to the council and just present more of the details of what the timelines would be, what the feasibility is. But we have to talk with they said to actually talk with Maryland Historic Trust, Historic Preservation Commission, and then we'll also want to meet first with our Kensington Historic Society about whether that's feasible to do on a historic building like this. So we're also in the conversation with the people from the Green Bank. The Green Bank, the Montgomery County Green Bank, funded this feasibility study generously. and has connected us to various technical experts. So one thing that we're exploring is how we kind of build a solar movement in the town with working with some of the commercial buildings and other property owners and things around community solar. So we're exploring that through Sustainable Kensington, and we'll continue to report back to everybody.
Great.
Do you have anything else to add on that, Anne?
Not on solar.
Okay.
No, I would also, the only other thing I would say in terms of activity areas is we do have a group that is forming around looking at stormwater management from property owner perspective versus town infrastructure perspective. So more to come on that.
Okay. All right. Yeah, do you want to follow up?
Sure. I'll share a couple of updates. The Greenscape Committee met last week and we have a very busy spring and fall planned. We're working on several programs to continue to enhance and preserve the tree canopy. So with Matt and Alex's assistance, we're looking at exploring some new ways to promote private residents putting trees on their property. And we'll be sharing information on that. We're going to have another Tree Care 101 workshop on May 18th. We did this last year and we had a good turnout just to teach residents about how to take care of trees. We are putting in plans for a native plant sale, which looks like it'll be on May 19th. And then we're moving forward with the idea of establishing some new pollinator-friendly gardens and visible areas in town and commercial areas. So we're in conversation with Prevention of Blindness, Look Again Resale Shop, and then the Compass Atelier, the new art space. So this could be a new opportunity that we'll work on starting now, planning for fall installation. So more to come on that. I did also want to share that the 3rd annual Juneteenth for Kensington will be Saturday, June 15th. Planning is underway. There's the rain date of June 16th. This will be at St. Paul Park again. It's proven to be a very wonderful community event. I think this year will be the same. So if you want to get involved, reach out to me or Jamie Boston, who's chairing that effort. And then the final thing I wanted to just pass along, those of us who have kids in the Walter Johnson cluster may have heard, and I don't know if this came up in last night's meeting with.
We made
We
it come
did.
up.
It did come up.
Good. I wanted to just highlight for the community that there is concern that MCPS may cut $20 million from the planned budget for Woodward High School construction, just to hold back on constructing the auditorium initially for cost savings. And this could have obviously a detrimental effect, not just for students in our area who may end up going to that school, but also the Northwood students who are going to be in that holding school, since the school is intended to be a performing arts space. So I think it would be good for the town to weigh in on this. They're meeting, the education committee is meeting tomorrow to go through the proposed cuts, and wanted to bring it up here.
We know I was on a call with the president of the school board, and there were a lot of questions about that. And basically she said the county's got to figure out how to generate more money. I mean, that's the bottom line. That you know, it's like $80 million for the auditorium. Something
The
they're
full
short.
amount,
Yeah.
they're trying to cut 20 million is what I
Yeah,
understand. From
okay.
that and another project.
Okay, but there's not enough money. I mean, there's not enough money for police officers because you're gonna have to pay them more. I mean, it's just,
Right.
you know, she doesn't know what to do. I mean, in the sense of the county government's got to figure out how to generate more money. I mean, they raised property tax last year. They're not gonna do that again, you know, this year. But
So was this a topic of discussion then last night?
not about taxes.
Not
but-
taxes, but as it happened, we, before the meeting started, had an opportunity to talk with Councilmember Joando, who's the chair of education. And so the three of us brought it up. First of all, to say a big kudos to our cluster PTA reps. And I will speak for the KP PTA chair, because the emails went out and made the community aware of this. So going into the meeting, there, I think 3 or 4 emails had hit my inbox. So when Councilmember Joando came over to say hi and chat a little bit, we took the opportunity to expressly talk about this specific issue. And he is well-versed, understands. to the mayor's point, he's trying to figure out where the money comes from for all of this. And his point too is not only do they need more money, the school budget is a very complex budget, especially with CIP projects taking multiple years, that the true cost of these projects changes from when they approve them
Right.
to when they build them. And that is the scenario that they're in with both schools.
Yeah, the Crown.
Crown's
yeah.
phase 1 and Woodward's phase 2, that they are just, the estimates that the MCPS gave them when they began and what they approved just aren't, they don't meet everything. And so his words are trying to do the best that they can. I don't think there's no indication which way the conversation might go tomorrow, but if anything, he heard us that, the town is very, very much engaged in this issue.
Okay, good.
Anything else?
That's all. Thank you.
Karen?
So I'll just quickly report, we had a mobility and traffic committee meeting on February 21st. Talked about the Connecticut Avenue improvements that are being developed by the state highway, which I guess are the 30% phase, which seemed promising as far as, getting to the next phase. So we'll take up the speed hump later in the meeting with the resolution. Talked about flashing stop signs that we're deploying throughout town, looking for suggestions on where they can be most effectively deployed. Continue the discussion that I think Nate began with about this painting our roadways in the effort of traffic calming, tactical urbanism. Couple outstanding issues obviously remain that we're still waiting for State Highway to formally approve signs on University so that we can finally put up the.
Well, I think they did approve it.
Oh,
Today?
Yeah,
We got
today.
it today.
Yeah, sorry.
Nobody told me.
It was approved today.
Okay.
They should have them up by the end of spring.
Then I'd like to announce that the signs were approved today.
Now, this is SHA. They didn't say spring
Oh,
this
boy,
year.
Yeah, 7 years.
No, this is not SHA. This is,
This is SHA.
It is
Oh, what is
SHA.
it?
I will say they held their promise on the rapid flashing beacon. The most recent.
Okay,
Yeah, I was gonna
Yeah.
say, it was
So,
supposed to
the
be
last promise.
by the
Yeah.
2023.
So,
Yeah.
Well, that's
Okay.
great. And then the last thing I think we're sort of waiting on are the speed feedback signs for Metropolitan.
We have it.
We have it. It's probably next week. It's probably going out.
No one tells me.
So, yeah.
Okay.
Good thing you come to meetings.
Things are just flying fast and furious. Sometimes just really,
But I'm not used to State Highway moving so fast.
I know, but it'll be nice to get that big board off the table upstairs.
Yeah.
All right, well, now I'm done.
Great. Okay, well, I'll just add a couple of things. I've been working with KHS. We're doing 2 history boards for the train station, one for the train station and one for the B&O Railroad. And hopefully we'll get those installed this year. So we're just this close to getting it approved, and then we can send it off to the vendor. It's similar to what we have in Kennedy. It's a history board of tell you what you are, where you are, and why it's important, and give you the history behind it. We have one at Warner, which the parks, paid for, and then we have one at Kennedy. We'll have them at the train station, and then the next place we'll do one here at this building. And then we'll have to think about, but I think people really enjoy seeing, a little history behind of these buildings and things. So, and then hopefully they'll want to learn more. So we also just want to remind everybody that we have the 130th anniversary celebration here at Town Hall on the April 6th. Tickets right now are only sold to town residents, but as of Monday, they'll go out to anyone who would like to buy tickets. They'll be available. So residents had the first chance, and then we'll open it up to the rest of the Kensington community and the business community as well. We have the Compass Arts Center. I believe their grand opening is April 13th. I think they're already doing classes. They'll as after April 1st. And so that's very exciting. And then we also have the Day of the Book. So on April 21st. We had the Warner Circle meeting on Monday. Ann was there. We had over 100 people in the building and 50 more online. It was a good presentation. Very few questions, which was great. That means everybody understands what's going on and they're happy about it. Mr. Warner's great grandson was here.
Oh, really?
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So Kate DeWitt, who's president of the Historical Society, got a chance to talk to him, and they hope to set up a meeting time where he can come in and maybe share some items that we can put on display at some point, and maybe a permanent display at the house once the house is completed. They'll have a museum type area that'll be open to the public. So that's really exciting.
And that recording is gonna be available online. right?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. Is Albert still online? Albert, are you there? He may have stepped away. I think they'll have that up probably in the next week. It'll probably go out on their e-blast.
Yeah, I'll check with Melissa.
Yeah, see when that'll be going up, but yeah, it was a good meeting.
Yes.
Does anybody have any questions about any of the reports that we just gave? Okay, I'm not seeing anything, so we will move on to the town manager. Do you have anything?
Mayor, the only comment I have is I'm actually gonna request that we remove resolution number R-10-2024 this evening. It's with regards to the budget amendment.
Okay,
Town Attorney Ferguson wants to clarify a few questions with me. So we'll bring this back in April.
okay,
It's not a time issue for me, so
okay,
if we can just remove that from the agenda.
okay. That was more the request of the
Just to clarify a few questions from
Okay.
from the Town Attorney Ferguson.
okay, cool. Alrighty. Right, so anything else? Susan, anything? No, Alex, you good? Okay, so we'll move on to public appearances. This is the opportunity to speak on any topic or subject that is not on tonight's agenda.
You moved it up.
I know.
Well, I did only because my goal here is to have it on before 8 o'clock.
That's great.
But we had a lot of ordinances and things like that, so I moved it, but it could be at the end again next month, depending on where we are. So
I
yes,
see Joe has his hand
yes,
up.
Joe has his hand up.
Probably.
So go ahead, Joe.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, it would be great to have it at the outset of the meeting, as Councilmember Engel had suggested a couple meetings ago. I'm
Well,
wondering.
he's mayor, he can do
I
it
did-
any way
I-
he wants.
So just for the record, I don't think I suggested to make it the first thing. I said moving it up, and I suggested for the place it's at right now, I think works. That's my opinion.
According to this clock, it's only 6:30, so it's really early in the.
So, be that as it may, I'm wondering if it looks like we're going to have a contested election in Kensington this year, and I guess I would expect that the incumbents who are facing re-election would probably be in a position to know if they're going to be facing opposition.
No one has declared other than the 3 people that are sitting here right now.
Sorry to disappoint for now.
So it does not look like a contested election, at least at this remove, less than 3 months before the voting.
There's quite a bit of time, Joe. So no one has signed up, but have you actually declared?
Yep.
I have to- I have to file my
You have it
papers.
filed? Okay, so only 2 of us have filed. So, but Anne intends to file.
Right. I heard her mention that last meeting.
Mhm.
Okay, thanks.
You're welcome. Okay, and anybody else in the audience? Don't see anybody? No other hands? Okay, we'll move on to ordinance, resolutions, and regulations. Matt?
Mayor and Council, before you this evening is a public hearing for ordinance number O-01-2024. This is a public hearing for an ordinance of the Mayor and Town Council of Kensington authorizing the acquisition of certain property located at 10528 St. Paul Street, located in Kensington, Maryland, for a public purpose. This property was identified by the town a number of years ago as a potential location for a future public works site. We have been working with, along with Attorney Michelle Rosenfeld, who is here with us this evening, with the property owner, Ms. Warner. We conducted an appraisal in January of 2023 for an appraisal value of $925,000. Ms. Rosenfeld received a counteroffer from Ms. Warner's legal counsel for $1,010,000. We have a draft contract agreement available in the public documents that was drafted by Town Attorney Ferguson. And we ask that we open the public hearing.
Okay. All right, did we have anybody sign up or we're just asking?
We're just asking.
Okay, okay. I'm gonna start with people in the audience. Does anybody wanna, if you wanna speak to that, you need to go to the podium and give your name and just your street.
Good evening, everybody. For the record, I'm Al Carr. I live on West Washington Street, and I wanted to express my support for the town acquiring 10528 St. Paul Street. And also yes on 10528, and I would also say yes on 10526. So that is the former Mulherron property that was acquired by Pepco in 2012. So as you may recall, in 2011, there was Snowmageddon and the big explosion of the Pepco building that was under repair for many, many months. So about a year after that, Pepco acquired 10524 and 10526. So 10526 is vacant. Pepco's been telling the regulators since then that it was, reserved for future use. First, it was going to be reserved for the end of 2023, and then when 2023 was approaching, they changed that to like 2030. But they're not using it, and conditions have changed since then. So it's pretty rare that a property comes up that's adjacent to a park, which I think would make both of those smart acquisitions. And I have a feeling there's a grander plan here that's not really part of this hearing tonight. So I'm in support of that. I would also just express opposition to the idea of the public works garage on those sites, just because it's a residential neighborhood. It is next to a park. If I lived on that street, I don't know that I would want to have the the noise and disruption of public works there. Thank you.
When you say trucks, I mean, right now, the trucks are pickup trucks, no different than what's currently being used at ServPro. So I just want to clarify, they're not, 18 wheelers.
Yep.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Al.
Anybody else? Yep. Name and street. Name and street.
So my name is Doug Smith. I live on St. Paul Street. And I honestly came to this meeting because I didn't know what the hell was going on. So I got a little postcard saying the town was maybe going to buy this property. So I'm here mostly to be educated. So I don't really know whether I don't know whether the plan is for this meeting to present any information about what the plan is. I mean, I know the property, but I don't really know what the town is planning to do with it.
Well, because the Summit Avenue extension will actually go right through our current Public Works building. We have to replace it.
Understand.
There aren't a lot of open lots or availability of property, particularly in an area, because that area is zoned for, commercial, even though it's across the street from residential. So we found that piece of property and made an offer on it because that's where we want to move our public works facility to that property.
Okay, and keep the building that's there?
No, we would probably replace the building because it's so difficult to do any solar and things like that here. We want to do a new building that will provide, I'll let Nate speak to more of that, but something that's more sustainable, you will. Is that the right term you would use?
Yeah, I think just design
Design-wise?
Yeah.
So no, the current building would eventually go away. But that's, we have to get probably put in for a state bond to do that.
Okay. So I don't want to take up the council's time educating me. I'm happy to get educated offline. I guess I'd raise two principles. One is it's on a residential street.
Right.
It's not only a residential street, it's a street of historic properties. And, you know, I consider myself a reasonable historic property owner,
Mhm.
but I think there are lots of streets of historic properties where if you propose to put the town public works on that street, you'd have people jumping up and down and saying what a terrible idea that was. I don't think it's necessarily a terrible idea. I mean, we've had these other sort of weird uses on the property, on the street for a while. And the other thing is obviously that it's next to the park. So I guess I just ask that the council, as you're thinking through what to really do with the property, and maybe to Al's point, if there's interest in the adjacent properties, which are getting even less productive use at this point, to just think about the residents on the street and the historic character and its proximity to a park.
Yeah, I mean, I think the great challenge is taking this, especially if we got the second lot of Pepco's, is the design. And that's where the community, particularly on St. Paul Street, will have a real input on how that, you know, that looks. Because all those other things could be behind a building, a facade that doesn't look like a public works building.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of ways of doing it. And that's, to me, very exciting, would be designing a sustainable building, but fits in more with the community. And then it also could provide, we're looking to add bathrooms for St. Paul Park. That could be open either during events, or people have codes that they're able to get into a bathroom. Because I know that's been brought to our attention quite a bit, that there are no bathrooms, you know, at St. Paul Park. So, you know, there's a way of doing that as well. So, so it's actually, so I would say, I think the part where we'd like to get the residents involved is when we start designing it. But
Yeah.
it's a commercial property. So, you know, if we didn't take it, what you're looking at today will remain there for a very long time. So I think this is an opportunity to see great improvement on the property.
Yeah, so in that vein,
You're leaving the mic.
In that vein, I guess it seems to me it makes a lot of sense to think about the 3 lots and not the 1 lot. To the extent, you know, that obviously has money implications, and I don't know if you need as much space as 3 lots would give you, but.
Well, definitely 2, but you know, I think, as I said, we could think about that, but I just think the design portion is where the excitement will come in for everyone to make a much nicer look. You know, you probably get rid of, you know, the amount of fencing that's there, and then just have maybe one entrance in, and then all the things are behind it, not in front of it, which is what's happening right now. If you like green vehicles, you get to see plenty of those over the weekend. So.
So to both of those, Doug, come knock on my door anytime. Happy to talk to you about it. As well as to Al's comment, as another resident of St. Paul Street, I know I have been advocating for it for a couple of reasons, and the mayor alluded to one of them. One is, and I love our local businesses, but you know, the trucks coming out right now from Servpro are day and night. They run 24 hours of business when they have emergencies. They also have enormous dumpsters right by your house that they dump at least once a week that contains some, you know, waste from remediation of properties. Public Works would have another use. Our trucks would be there, but it would also diminish us either having to truck over the mowing equipment or the crew riding the mowing equipment over from its current location to the park, which this is the biggest area that we mow. But the biggest driver has been getting hold of it allows us to build a building, Doug, to your point, that fits in with the community. It puts our public works centralized in our town, which I think is better than where it's located now. But it gives us the opportunity to plan a building that also benefits the park. So the mayor alluded to design-wise having it so that there's accessibility to bathrooms for our events. For those people who are, you know, the park is hugely popular right now with the pavilion for birthdays and other outdoor events, but it also would provide us the ability to also plan like a community room. So there would be an indoor and outdoor, you know, party room, birthdays and gatherings and things like that. again, to the mayor's point, it's all about design, and that will be a whole nother discussion, but the opportunity to get a hold of that first lot arose coincidentally at a time where we have to relocate Public Works as it is. And this, as a, you know, I know the mayor came to me and I said, as a resident of the street, I actually think it's a perfect location. To your point, you know, I think some people have an idea of like, oh, Public Works is just a big, you know, industrial garage with big trucks, and we would design something that is in fitting with it being on a residential street.
Thanks for your
Can I go
comments.
back?
Yeah.
So
Rebuttal?
I guess the other point I would make, which maybe everybody appreciates, is that St. Paul Park, even though it's on the north side, the northeast quadrant, whatever, gets a lot of use, and it's a huge resource, and it's sort of it's not the kind of resource that we have in other parts of the town. So I think doing well by the park and its users is a good goal.
And you'll be the first one that gets plowed in the winter. That's another benefit. That's why Connor really wants.
I mean,
You
I
want
do
it
leave
because-
early.
We do not get that much.
I just true.
You want it because you don't want people using your bathroom anymore.
So I was gonna make the comment to Doug that you used to be the bathroom house, right, when your kids were there, and then it got shifted down to me. And I'm looking for a more permanent solution. So,
And I would say, just so people know, we're not just, just looking to listen on this. The existing Public Works building needs a lot of work.
It's in very bad
So we
shape.
have to decide, do we put the dollars into improving that, knowing its future is limited? Or do we, put it somewhere else where everything would be new? And then we also want to remember that we get requests from residents. I think these are good requests, for example, to shift from road salt to something like brine.
Mhm.
And we don't have that facility at our current location.
We don't have the space.
We don't have the space. And so, again, we're not designing the building tonight, but, part of the design will be to take into account previous requests and the merits, and see if we have the space to add those to sort of a new site.
Does anybody on the Zoom have a question? I don't see any hands right now, although I did see somebody briefly up. Miriam?
Hi, thank you. My name is Miriam Cross. I'm a resident on St. Paul Street as well. I just wanted to support all the points that the two public speakers made there. We are a little concerned about Public Works and what that means for our street, but it does sound like you guys are being very careful and thinking through how it impacts our street, and hopefully it'll be improvement, but just wanted to support all of the concerns that were raised.
Great. Well, we're a long way off, I would say, but before we start designing, but that will definitely be something that we would want to engage, particularly the residents that are on St. Paul Street, to be engaged with that. So once that, gets up and running, then we will definitely, reach out to everyone and make sure that you're aware of, and we'll welcome all comments from all residents, but particularly from the people that are on the street.
Sounds great. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Okay, anyone else? Okay, I'm not seeing any other hands. Okay. Oh, Joe, go ahead.
Yeah, I was wondering if you could just refresh our memories about how much this is going to cost, this acquisition.
Matt already said, but we'll say it again. It was $1,010,000.
That was the counter proposal from the property.
Right.
Yes.
I didn't hear Matt very clearly.
$1,010,000.
Okay, thanks for refreshing our memory.
All right.
Do we need to make an amendment?
So not quite yet.
Okay.
So the staff is asking the council keep the public record open
Mhm.
until Monday, April 8th.
Okay.
4 p.m. At which point we'll close the public record, provide any additional written or verbal comments to the council for consideration at the April 10th council meeting. At which point we would make an amendment with the new counter proposal offer from Ms. Warner's property.
Okay. Sounds like we can, somebody wants to make a motion?
Sure, I'll move that we keep the record open for the public hearing until 4 p.m. on Monday, April 8th, 2024 on ordinance O-01-2024.
Second.
All right, those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, thank you very much. Michelle, thank you so much. I'm sorry you weren't needed, but thank you for being here.
I'm glad I wasn't beat. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye, Michelle.
Thank you.
Okay, we'll move down to number 2.
Thank you, Council. Before you this evening is the introduction of ordinance number O-02-2024. An introduction of an ordinance of the mayor and council of the town of Kensington to appropriate and adopt the fiscal year 2024-2025 FY25 budget and to levy a tax on certain real and personal property under the provisions of Article 6-203 of the tax property article of the annotated code of Maryland as amended. Staff is requesting that the public hearing be set for Wednesday, April 10th, 2024 at 7 p.m.
Okay, does anybody have any questions regarding number 2?
So no comments this evening.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, we're just introducing. I'm sorry. So I just need a
I will say
motion.
we're not proposing any tax increases.
Okay,
And then the detailed budget is available online and through the email notification system.
okay. All right, need a motion? Set the hearing?
Sure, I'll move that we set the public hearing for ordinance O-02-2024, the introduction of the town's budget for Wednesday, April 10th, 2024 at 7 p.m.
Okay. All right, is there a second?
I second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, thank you. Number 3,
Thank you, Council. Before you this evening is resolution number R-03-2024, a resolution of the mayor and council of the town of Kensington authorizing a contract agreement with Brutus and Associates to provide engineering and support services for storm drain study along the 3,500 and 3,600 blocks of Farragut Avenue. This was previously on the agenda last month. We had to postpone it to this month to allow Bruce a little more time on the engineering. This is a project that we've been working on for a number of years. We're trying to run a storm drain lateral between St. Paul and Lexington Street. The engineering is necessary to determine the water distribution from a number of properties. We also ran into a problem. There's a WGL main line running down the center of the street, which will need to be shifted a little bit to get a storm drain in. Brutus and Associates has been working with us on the St. Paul storm drain project. They are also the engineer on contract for our bridge repair and renovation project. So we have a pretty good working relationship with them.
and we feel comfortable that the gas line is where it actually is.
We are, our contractor did test pits. That's how we know that it's off and most of the gas lines on the north side of the sidewalk, which doesn't affect the project. Between a number of houses kind of in the middle of the block. The storm drain is in the middle of the street. We're working with WGL to shift that back up to the sidewalk. So we need the engineering for that. And then
Okay.
obviously, this is a little different than just adding a storm drain. This is an
Okay.
entire lateral that would encompass quite a bit of water. As Councilmember Bartram knows, a number of his resident neighbors experience a good amount of water flooding and ponding during summer.
It's mostly in their backyards, isn't it?
Both.
Yeah, okay. And WGL will do the gas work.
They will do the gas work, yeah.
Okay, good. All right. Is there any questions from the council?
Had just a question and a comment. I think the comment is it looks like that they were again assessing for a 10-year flood situation, and I know that Nate had raised that
Thank you for
last
saying
time.
it, so I didn't have to.
And I just wanted to note.
We need a
that
20-year.
We need it.
No, 50.
50, 100 years.
So Arun, who's our hydro engineer, he's aware of that request from the
Okay.
council, not only on this project, but the St.
St.
Paul
Paul,
project.
too.
Yeah.
Right, okay.
So, yeah.
That'll be, okay.
Yeah.
And then the question I have is more forward-looking, knowing that we have our ARPA dollars to allocate towards a much bigger stormwater project. I understand these smaller assessments, approving them without, doing a competition makes sense because of where we are in the phase, but for the bigger project, I just wanted to raise, it feels like we're gonna have, and I'm sure you're already thinking of this, more planning
Yeah,
around the procurement process for that.
well, okay, so the St. Paul and Farragut project, they fall within our scope of work right now.
Right,
So everything's already been bid out.
right.
Accepted. This, what we end up doing further down the line, mainly Kensington County Park. We've come to the realization pretty quickly with working with Brutus and Associates, it is outside our building. We're gonna need to bring in the state, the county, and parks
Yeah.
to figure out a solution to that project. So the ARPA funds, while there will be some base engineering put towards that, the solution is gonna have to come from all of us. The state's gonna have to really help us with that. A lot of the problem is coming from them, from Connecticut Avenue. Obviously, we need parks cooperation. They've not been as helpful as we hoped thus far. So obviously we need some politicking at some point. But you know, we'll get there after these projects.
So let's be clear too, the state has several storm drains on Armory Avenue.
Correct. So we have a shared network, what we refer to as the C line storm drain network. It is shared with the State Highway Administration on the Armory Avenue, Baltimore, and Connecticut. And a lot of the problems we're having is the volume of water coming off Connecticut Avenue going into a system that wasn't necessarily built for a 6-lane road. They're aware of some of the issues, and we're gonna need their help finding solutions.
So when they put in Connecticut Avenue, which was before all of our times, they just plugged into our storm drains?
Correct.
Okay. Thank you. And did they approve, I know it's a little off topic, sorry, at the Cohen's house, they're doing that work, is that correct?
So that storm drain is actually under an easement with the state. So
Okay.
it's not ours.
Okay.
We are doing the engineering on the pipe from that property down the Calvert.
Okay,
And then we'll get a recommendation list from Brutus on repairs. We would be responsible for the repairs of the piping, but if there's anything on the actual inlet, that would fall under the jurisdiction of state highway.
okay. All right, does anybody in the audience have any questions? On number 3? Joe?
Yes, Matt, is Brutus being spread a bit too thin with all the work that the town is giving it? I ask because the bridge projects on the south side of town I haven't seen any work been done on this at all. And I know they're a lead contractor or the lead contractor on that project. And
So they're separate divisions within Brutus. They're a very large engineering firm. These projects that we're talking about this evening are the hydro division. The bridge is structural, so they're not the same divisions. We're not dealing with the same project managers. The delay on the bridge project is mainly due because the project manager left. They had to hire a new employee. He had to catch up. And there's also been a request from Parks to do a changes we've discussed in previous council meetings about moving the access point for Kensington County Park from the mid-block crossing up to Frederick. So that's mostly been the delay. So just finding a new project manager, he needs to basically go back and read everything to figure out what he was doing. But I hope to have an RFP out maybe late summer from them.
Okay.
so late summer for the request for a proposal, is that what you're saying?
For the bridge, yeah, for the construction, for a construction contractor.
So if everything goes smoothly, we'd be seeing that bridge project being done by the end of the year, early next year?
Start most likely, not completion. So
I'm sorry, start when was that?
best case scenario, they might start one of the bridges by the end of the year. None of the bridges would be completed by the end of the calendar year.
Okay. All righty, thanks.
I don't see any other hands. Council, you guys good? Somebody wants to make a hearing or want to make a motion?
Wow.
I'll make a motion to approve resolution number R-03-2024.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, you got your super majority there.
Thank you, council.
All right, number 4.
Resolution number R-06-2024 is a resolution of the mayor and council of the town of Kensington to authorize the town manager to extend the auditing contract with Linton Schaefer, Warfield and Garrett, public certified accountants to perform the annual audit for fiscal years 2023, 2024, FY 24-25, and 25-26. So this is essentially a 1-year contract with 2 1-year options, 2 additional 1-year options. we did send the audit over to the auditing committee, and we did receive a comment back from the chair, Jeff Capron, who is.
Who's on the call?
Thank you. Jeff.
So if Mr. Capron would like to comment, I will defer to him. Otherwise, I would defer to Councilmember Lichter and Engel as the auditing co-chairs.
We can.
This is Jeff Capron, if you can hear me. I wrote back, I thought the proposal was good. We've had a good experience with this firm. They're skilled in the particular kind of accounting principles that apply to local governments, and the pricing is in the frame of reference with which I'm familiar, quite reasonable. And so I thought renewing their contract, and particularly giving them a commitment or giving us the opportunity for 3 years is a good idea. And the fee increases in each of those years are reasonable. So I was happy to see that they made that proposal, and I support it.
Okay. Thank you.
Thanks, Jeff.
Any thoughts on your?
Ditto to what Jeff said.
Okay.
They've been very good to work with and responsive, and this is I think a reasonable proposal.
Okay.
Yeah, and Eva did mention to us that they would change the principles over the years, just to make sure there's separate, different eyes looking at the final audits.
Oh, good. Okay. Any questions from the audience? Okay, don't see any hands, so we will, I'll accept a motion.
I move that we adopt resolution number R-06-2024, authorizing us, the town, to extend the auditing contract with Linton, Schaefer, Warfield, and Garrett.
Okay, is there a second?
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you,
All right,
Council.
number 5.
Resolution number R-07-2024, a resolution of the Kensington Town Council confirming appointments made by the mayor to the Development Review Board. We had 3 individuals on the DRB that all inquired about staying on. Thank you. Mike Hennihan would serve as professional. Andrew Roud would serve as professional, and Michael Gordon would serve as a resident. These are all reappointments to the DRB.
Okay, nothing, the main thing about reappointments, we haven't had a lot going on as
Correct.
far as the DRB. I don't.
This
think-
year, no.
This year has been pretty quiet, so I
Right.
know a couple of these people haven't even had really a chance to have a meeting, which.
Right.
So we want to, give people that opportunity if so. I mean, I don't know if it's good news that we haven't had meetings, but
It's just the nature of how it's been. I will say we are also very fortunate that we have a number of residents who are also in the professional field and have been wonderful about sharing their time and their expertise with us. And the fact that they are willing to renew is wonderful, because we don't, the hope is that there will be redevelopment down the road with certain areas of town, and it's very helpful to the DRB to have this kind of expertise.
I agree. Council, any questions regarding the
I don't think
appointments?
we need the third whereas clause, but I think it's a carryover from last year, possibly.
On the,
No, true.
delete that
So we just.
as amended,
amended.
okay.
Okay.
All right, you wanna, anybody have any questions regarding the appointments?
No, just thanks to them for
Okay.
agreeing to do it.
I don't see anybody. All right, need a motion?
Sure. I move that we adopt resolution R-07-2024. A resolution confirming appointments by the mayor to the Development Review Board as amended.
Okay. Is there a second?
A second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, number 6.
Thank you, Council. For you this evening is resolution number R-08-2024, a resolution of the mayor and council of the town of Kensington authorizing the town manager to contract for the installation of a speed hump along the 10600 block of St. Paul Street. The town staff received a request from a couple of residents on the 10600 block. Per our policy, we put out a petition. The petition went to 12 residents on the block. They all were in favor of the proposed speed hump. They met with the Mobility and Traffic Committee last month, MTC, and the MTC provided a favorable recommendation for the installation of the speed hump.
Are they all on the same page of the location of the
They
speed?
are the
Okay.
two residents.
It's very
So
important.
we were very specific of where it would go. There's not a lot of room on this
Yeah.
block.
Okay,
It's going mid-block. It is going, we told both residents exactly where it's going. And we received, received feedback from both,
okay,
and they were in favor.
okay, good.
So,
I don't wanna,
yeah.
guys showing up to put in the speed hump to,
Yeah,
Has
so it's
somebody
literally, the street is
freak
about
out?
450 feet in length.
okay,
Its mid-block is 225. So, Joe Kuchar, our traffic engineer, sketched it out, so they know exactly where it's going.
okay.
Fun fact.
Yeah.
The maximum speed recorded during the traffic study, 66 miles per hour.
Mhm, yeah,
It could be,
There's a stop sign I
could
have
be
to
an
get to.
error, but I mean, that's.
66 seems like an error.
wow, or you just had some kid that,
Yeah.
you know, took a,
I can't even picture that.
yeah,
Sounds like.
Well, I can picture it. I hate to say that.
yeah.
I mean, there's a
Needed.
couple,
It's needed.
late at night, they'll skip stop signs.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, all right, any questions regarding number 7? Don't see any hands. Okay, call a motion.
I'll move to,
Oh, I'm sorry, it's number 6, sorry.
Was it 6? Oh, but it's
Yeah,
resolution.
it's resolution
I'll move-
R08.
I'll move to approve resolution number R-08-2024.
Okay, is there a second?
My second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay,
Thank you, council. We'll try to have that installed this spring. But we told the residents it might be the summer, depending on, we need a paved team to do it, so.
yeah, because you gotta really follow up with the pavers.
We have some concrete work coming this spring, but it's a different team, so we'll see if we can, get it in before the summer.
Okay,
Resolution number R-09-2024 is a resolution of the Kensington Town Council confirming appointments made by the mayor to the Board of Supervisors of Elections. Council, these are reappointments essentially of current board supervisors, Board of Elections, Kate DeWitt, Spencer Harrell, and Robin Watson. They've all asked to remain.
Susan Spencer contacted
Yes.
you, okay, as I saw him this morning.
Yeah, he said.
Yeah, okay, good. Okay, council, any questions about the people being appointed? Anyone on the audience have any questions? Okay, don't see any hands. We have a motion.
So I'll move that we adopt resolution number R-09-2024. Resolution confirming appointments made by the mayor to the Board of Supervisors of Elections.
Okay, is there a second?
A second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, thank you very much. I know. I'm glad we pulled number 8. All right, just wanna, before we adjourn, wanna make sure we are going to be in person on the 10th. Make sure everybody knows that. We talked, about having a CIP, meeting, on the 3rd. I'm not sure that's gonna work out. And I wanted to get some other thoughts on how we could do that, whether we start our meeting on the 10th, inviting people to come in earlier.
Turn it into more of like a listening session.
Yeah, or just not just a listening session, but question,
Mhm.
Q&A.
Okay, I just mentioned to Tracy before the meeting started, I will be in Chicago that day. So
Yeah.
I will need to be joining virtually.
Mhm.
Is it just for the day or?
I'm there, the 10th through the 12th.
Okay, I mean, I feel like we're all available
Mhm.
for questions. I know staff is always good at answering questions. We could do a Zoom Q&A, which quite honestly, would probably get a few more people just because people don't want to come out.
We could do hybrid, and
Just do a hybrid.
are you even gonna be able to join?
She could join the meeting, right?
But,
On the 10th,
yeah, it's 7.
Yeah.
Eastern.
yeah. So would it be 6 o'clock where you are?
Yeah.
Don't make any promises.
No,
If you're
okay.
traveling, you never know.
I know, right?
We'll have a quorum.
Would,
Yeah, we will.
We'll have a quorum.
in your vision, what would postponing it to and just finding a later date? Or doing
Postponing in
this-
the town meeting?
the CIP portion
Oh,
or just doing it at like a hybrid, like 1 hour before?
I mean, I just think it's a question of what can be fit on the calendar at this
it
point.
is, it's becoming a challenge. I mean,
Mhm.
everybody's, got other obligations with children and work and.
Yeah, I mean, I think the original idea was to have, be able to have more small group discussion plus a Q&A that uses the budget as a basis to put some structure around the conversation, but can go beyond that and to helping people see how we're prioritizing. So it'll be hard, I think, to do that on Zoom. I think if we do it on Zoom, it would end up being, or at a forum like this, more of a traditional Q&A, which is important. We need that hearing process anyway, but it's different.
I mean, I think. It almost wants to be when you're building the budget, not necessarily when you've already put it into place. I don't know, does that make sense?
That was the original idea. but
Right,
then-
and we just
then
couldn't get
kind
it
of
scheduled.
Morphed into this more of a informing rather than shaping.
So, I'm wondering if, in our summary that we can, that we'll send out tomorrow, is that encouraging people to reach out to their council members if they have any questions regarding the budget? Or reach out to staff. Or, we do the thing, at another time. I'm just trying to fit that in because there's not a lot of time. 'Cause, everybody's away next week.
Mhm.
Well, I'm not.
You're not
I don't
doing
go
it.
anywhere.
You're not spring break.
I don't do a spring breaker. So, it's hard because you come right back and you're on top of it.
Mhm.
And,
Yeah. Well, I'm planning to meet tomorrow with Matt and Susan just to get a walkthrough of the budget, and I was going to use that time to explore what's feasible. I know it's not ideal timing because we're meeting tonight, but
Right.
that's how it worked out.
um,
Here we are.
Yeah, case in point.
I mean, just because we have great ideas doesn't mean we can't postpone them to like next year's budget. I mean, I just think it's, I don't feel like I've had, I think it's more curiosity, regarding why are we buying property or what are we gonna do with this property? I don't feel the budget in general has been too many questions regarding that.
Yeah, but I could see where not just the buying, but like, okay, you bought it. What
Yeah,
is,
and-
what's the
right.
longer term, like, when would the building come down? How much input will we have? What would that look like?
And we're like SHA, we don't really.
One step at a time.
One step at a time.
But then to other larger priorities for the town too, right, around, this building, our continued roads, infrastructure, just things that I think we can pull it together as a,
Yeah.
here are all the big items that are in our CIP and put it out to people. But I mean, we could still do that later in like May, just inform people of what's in this year's budget, or really work this fall towards one that would go toward next year's budget.
Mhm.
Especially because there will be some real conversations also and engagement needed when we see what happens at the county council level, as well as in the state budget with different grants and other things that we've applied for.
Right, and I mean, that actually would include in, on this, Summit Avenue extension, whether they are able to keep that in the CIP.
Mhm.
So, yeah, so I think we can, provide something. I know, previously we've had, have coffee and, with the mayor and the council, events, and give those opportunities to, but I'm skeptical that we'll get a big crowd, but we might get about 10 or 15 people, which is good. I mean, those are the ones that are interested, but it's tough for people to get engaged. They're all going in 100 different directions. So. So that we're not gonna do anything on the 3rd. I don't think we can pull that together. So, does it make sense to do it after? Or,
Yeah, I think something after, at least even just a debrief that scopes something for the fall, if Ann and I are,
well, actually,
Here,
actually,
so-
the hearing stands open.
Yeah.
So-
hearings are-
yeah, so.
The hearing's open until what, the Friday before our meeting? Or
also-
actually, we're now Wednesday, so maybe.
it'd be the
even Monday.
Monday in May. prior
So
to
we'd
the
have an
meeting, so-
opportunity before,
The maybe. Mhm.
yeah,
If we postpone it till later in April or early May.
yeah.
Mhm.
So you wanna try that?
Yeah, I figure we'll see what's feasible with the
Yeah.
calendar.
Yeah, and it might give us a little more opportunity to maybe put together a sheet, that we give out, something that we were talking about previously, kind of some of the CIP programs and projects we're working on. So then, the residents have a little better idea than just seeing numbers and line items. They
Right.
actually see what we're allocating
That
funds
way-
towards specific projects.
Mhm.
We can also give some early feedback for how whether it makes sense to do something bigger and more shaping it for the fall, for the following year.
Right,
I mean, that,
Last time, May will should hopefully give us what is happening with Summit Avenue in this county CIP. It will also give us the firm expectation coming out of the state budget for grant for St. Paul Park that we applied for ADA improvements and surface area.
You have
That grant is in.
The work, the bicycling pedestrian priority area plan
You'll have that by
also.
then.
I mean.
Okay, well,
Okay, so that's
all
actually,
positive.
Yeah,
that's,
so that should be
Yeah.
good too.
And-
assuming that we get the grant, which I think we will.
I think we will. And then
Yeah.
I foresee, talking to the town manager, we may need to do a little bit of work with our District 18 partners on talking to the state about when it comes to ADA,
They have to have some
give us some
flexibility.
flexibility. Yeah.
Yeah,
So for
'cause
those,
that makes no sense at all with you understand, they won't let you change the mulch out for,
because the mulch came under a different grant.
yeah, I
but-
mean.
So we have,
That's-
we have a District
We need
18 ready to engage.
clarification
with us.
reasonable.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So I pulled up the planning document and just wanted to share the original, or not the original, the evolving concept would be that, yeah, we'd have 2 hours at the end of the drill hall, we'd have some food. Ideally, we'll have some babysitters for people that have little ones, but that there would be a short presentation highlighting what's in the budget and why. Then a chance for Q&A, and then break into small group discussion, and people could self-select into 3 main groups. One would be stormwater management and green space, one would be pedestrian mobility, traffic and parking, and one would be municipal facilities and infrastructure.
Hmm.
And that way, people that are really interested in those topics have a chance to dig in a little bit more, and we could have council members and staff sort of floating around. And it's just an opportunity to get, I think, more input and more discussion than we would normally get from a budget document.
Mhm.
And we'll see what's feasible in terms of any props or maps that we would want to have available.
High
right,
tech here, so.
okay, well, I think moving it into, before we, that, late April.
Okay.
Airtime period would be good.
Or
early
tomorrow.
May.
Maybe-
Early May,
May.
yeah.
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 Okay.
Okay,
Thank you.
good. All right, well, glad we settled that. All right, or have a new plan. All right, now I will take a motion to adjourn.
I'll move to adjourn.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Bye.
Great,
Super
okay,
Majority.
yep. We wouldn't be able to close otherwise, right? Okay, thank you very much. You hung out to the bitter end, Doug.
Thanks for coming.
Yeah,
Doug.
thank you.
It's resolution 6 that I was really.
Oh, resolution 6, not 7?
I love our-
Oh.
I thought you were gonna